sorts of different subjects. And tonight the subject is looking at God as King of creation. And so we're going to be looking at various different aspects of that. Now, first question. Do you like secrets? Well, it all depends. Yeah, some of you are saying yes, and some of you aren't so sure. It depends whether you've got the secret or someone else does, doesn't it? It depends which side of it you're on. Now, I actually don't like secrets, but I do like mysteries. I love mysteries. I love reading mystery novels. I can get totally lost in one of those and forget about everything else. And I've got various favourite authors, and it's the same with a lot of films and some TV shows as well. Nothing like a good mystery, is there? Midsummer Murders. Tell me, are the villagers around here a bit like Midsummer? In which case, I'm going to be a bit worried. Actually, I wonder why there's anybody left in Midsummer. Either because they've all been murdered, or who'd want to live there anyway? But no, let me tell you a story, and you can be working out for yourself whether you like secrets or not. There was this man who was driving down a road, and he was in a very rural area, and the car broke down. And the nearest building was a monastery. So he went to the monastery, knocked on the door, and he explained that his car had broken down, and it was getting pretty late, so he was banking on their hospitality. They were very, very gracious. They accepted him, they fed him dinner, they gave him a bed for the night, and they even fixed his car. Now, as the man was trying to sleep that night, he heard this strange sound, a sound like no other that he'd ever heard. And the next morning, he asked the monks what the sound was, and they said, "Really sorry, but we can't tell you because you're not a monk." Well, he was a bit disappointed, a bit miffed really, but anyway, he thanked them, went on his way, and forgot all about it. Several years later, he was driving down that same road, and you'll never guess what? The car broke down. And he was just near the monastery. So he went and he explained again what had happened. And yes, they gave him food, they gave him a bed for the night, and they even mended his car. And that night, as he was trying to get to sleep, he heard once again that same mesmerising sound that he'd heard all those years earlier. And the next morning he said, "What was that sound?" But the monks replied, "We can't tell you. You're not a monk." But the bloke now was hooked. So he said, "All right, I'm dying to know if the only way I can find out what that amazing, beautiful, haunting sound was, I'll become a monk. What do I have to do to become a monk?" So they explained, they said, "All right, you must travel the earth and you must tell us how many blades of grass there are and the exact number of sand pebbles. And when you found those numbers, come back, tell us, and you can become a monk." So the man set about the task. 45 years it took him. And he arrived back and he knocked on the door of the monastery and he said, "I have travelled the earth, I've devoted my life to the task. And I have found that there are 371,145,236,284,232 blades of grass. And there are 231,281,999,129 sand pebbles on the earth." "Congratulations," said the monk. "You are correct. And now you are a monk. We will show you the way to the sound." And so they led him to this wooden door. And the head monk says, "Behind that door is the sound you heard." And so he reaches for the knob and it's locked. And he asks for the key. And the head monk gives him the key. And behind the wooden door is another door that's made of stone. And he actually requests the key for that. And it can go very long. So I'll just tell you now that the doors were of emerald, silver, topaz. You can carry on, all right, but I'll not. Finally, the monk says, "The key to the last door." And the man was so relieved and hand trembling. He unlocks the door, he turns the knob, and behind the door is astonished to find the source. of that strange sound. It's a truly amazing and unbelievable sight. But I can't tell you because you're not a monk. Oh, the secret is horrible. Those days you actually have a playground, doesn't it? Yeah, where you've got this group of friends and they've all got a secret but they're not telling you. Yeah? Kids can be really nasty, can't they? Well, I want to say tonight, life is not a secret, but it is a mystery. What life is all about, it's not going to be hidden away from us. It's not God keeping it from us, but there is always a sense of mystery. And the whole thing about a mystery is that it's designed for you to find the answer, to follow the clues and to find what the actual truth is. Now, I used to be a teacher, and my style of RE, I was an RE teacher, the style of RE I taught was not, right, here's the Bible, learn these stories, this is the answer. The style of RE that I loved was, do you know, in life, there are some really big questions. Where have we come from? Where's everything come from? What are we here for? What happens after we die? Just three of the biggest questions you can possibly have. And I reckon my job as an RE teacher was to get those young people to begin to start to explore and search those biggest questions. It was around the time of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Do you remember? Who remembers that? Yeah? Do you remember that? With Arthur Dent and all those others. And of course, the whole theme of that was that they got the answer, 42, but they didn't know what the question was. And so they built this computer, which was the Earth, to try and find the question. And just before they found it, was it the Vogons? Yeah, the Vogons, wasn't it? Destroyed the whole lot. But they got Arthur. Anyway, I'll not go into that story. I got into a bit of trouble because I used it for one of the exams and it all went very, very wrong. But ask me about that later, because that was... But you see, once you've started to ask the big questions, you can't unask them. And what I loved doing with those young people was exploring all the different questions. Now, let me jump. I was a vicar in Blackpool for 15 years before I did this job. And Blackpool's a pretty interesting place. And we were in the kind of tough area with high-rise flats, masonettes, drugs problems, you name it, it all happened. And we got a lot of the young people on our grounds. And they were very streetwise. But do you know what their favourite game was? Hide and seek. In Blackpool. Strange, isn't it? But they used to spend hours playing hide and seek. And it's fascinating because it's that same thing, isn't it? But do you know with hide and seek, the whole purpose of it is actually to be found. And imagine a dad playing hide and seek with his kids. The dad's joy and delight is not in hiding from the kids, but actually when those kids find him and the look on their faces when they find Dad. And he will actually deliberately put clues there, nothing too obvious, but deliberately put clues in place so they can actually find him. I think that God's a bit like that with us. And I want to explore tonight some of the clues that there are in the creation that actually point us to the one responsible for it all, the King of creation. So let's have a start. What clues do we have? Well, for a start, you here live in an absolutely beautiful area, don't you? I live in Walsall. Come on, you're supposed to feel sorry for me at that point. I live in Walsall! Yeah? I was hoping when I left Blackpool that God would guide me to some beautiful, idyllic place. Walsall. But there we are. You can't win them all, can you?